Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. You can give me a follow on Twitter at HGrahamNFL for more Bears news, rumors, updates, and everything else. You can also ask me questions over there on my Twitter page at HGrahamNFL. We had some, I'll call it news, I guess, drop before the show. Ian Rapoport had this tweet regarding Allen Robinson. As the franchise tag deadline nears, the Bears and star wide receiver Allen Robinson are not expected to reach a long-term extension. Sources say it appears that Robinson will play on a $17.88 million tag for 2021. Not surprising, but pretty annoying. Now, I won't call this new information. We talked about this on Monday's video, how there's no new forward movement on a contract extension between these two parties, and that him playing on the tag for this year is the trend the direction we're trending in. But now that Rap's thrown it out there, that's just another NFL reporter saying that, yeah, it's not looking very good, which is pretty annoying. It's pretty disappointing because you guys know B. I've been on the hashtag SignAR, hashtag ExtendAR movement for almost a year now here on this show, and for good reason. I mean, the guy has been really, really consistent on a piss-poor offense. I mean, let's just call it what it is. He's caught passes from Nick Foles, Mitchell Trubisky, and Chase Daniel since joining the Bears, and he's put up these numbers the past 2 years. Like, it's just frustrating that you can't figure this out. I like how Ryan Pace drafted this year, but there's no doubt about it that he has mismanaged the Allen Robinson contract situation, and now you're going to be in the same spot next year. You're either going to have to tag him, which will go up for a second franchise tag, or you're going to have to overpay, or you're just going to have to let him walk, which is not a result that anybody wants. What's your one-word reaction to Allen Robinson likely playing on the franchise tag this year? For me, just annoying. It's just flat-out annoying and frustrating. So give me your one-word reaction to Allen Robinson likely playing on the tag this year. Let's get into our Bears rumors roundup. Harrison Graham here on Chicago Bears Now. Are the Bears going to cut Jimmy Graham? I'm actually going to give this one just one smoking J. I don't think it's very likely. It's barely true. It could happen, but I just don't think it's a very likely scenario. Now, CBS Sports, Patrick Walker specifically, did an article of all 32 teams and a notable player that could get cut, named Jimmy Graham, and for good reason. Why? Something we've talked about quite a bit here on the show. He's set to make $10 million this year and count $10 million against the cap. That's a lot of money for Jimmy Graham, who is a good red zone target, but that's kind of it at this point. Now, I think we all believe that he played better last year than expected, but $10 million is still a lot for what he brings to the table. But all that being said, Jimmy Graham's not going to get cut, guys. What have the Bears done this offseason to lead you to believe that they're cutting Jimmy Graham? They cut Kyle Fuller over him. They didn't add any other veteran tight ends except for Jake Butt, who basically has never played in the NFL. They're going to keep Jimmy Graham. They value his leadership. They value his red zone ability, and they think that Cole Kmet can continue to groom under him. Now, here's what Patrick Walker had to say on the idea of cutting Jimmy Graham. Quote, Graham is rapidly approaching the dusk of an NFL career. 34-year-old is on the books for the Bears this season to the tune of $10 million, and his inability to consistently stretch the field, albeit still a quality red zone target, makes it difficult to fathom Chicago being willing to take such a financial hit. He's set to earn $6.9 million in base salary, which all converts to cap savings if the Bears decide to show him the door and instead give his reps to other talent on their roster like Cole Kmet. Speaking of which, I'll have you guys answer this question, then give more thoughts. Who will be tight end number one? Type CK for Cole Kmet, type JG for Jimmy Graham. Get your votes in on this one. I hope it's Cole Kmet, so I'm going to go ahead and type my CK. Now, he needs to be tight end number one, but the problem I have with what Patrick Walker said, the financial stuff, which we've all covered, is that's been true for 6 months. That was true when you signed him to a 2-year deal last year. If money was an issue for the Bears, don't you think they would have done something by now? Don't you think they would have restructured his deal or just flat out cut him? What's going to change in mid-July that wasn't true on March 1st before free agency? Nothing. I mean, they could have done this a while ago. They clearly value Jimmy Graham, and I'm fine with keeping him as long as Cole Kmet gets more opportunities. Like, if we get to the end of this season and the numbers look like this again, where Jimmy Graham is the more focal point tight end on this team, that means one of two things. One, it's bad coaching, or two, Cole Kmet has just not is just not the player you thought he was when you drafted him out of Notre Dame in the second round. When you take a player in the second round, you're expecting a good, solid player. Maybe not a superstar, but I think his numbers should look more like Graham's this year. Maybe not touchdown-wise, maybe 5 or 6, but over 500 yards, I think that's possible for Cole Kmet. I like Jimmy Graham. He's a good vet. He's a cultured guy. I get all that stuff. He still has value in the red zone, but $10 million is quite a little bit too much of money in my opinion, but I think if it's only one smoking J that he gets cut, I just don't think it's very likely. I hope subscribing to the channel is likely for some of you guys. Well, 28,000 of you guys, it's very likely. Appreciate you guys who have subscribed already. We're 26 subs away from 28,900, and then 29K is just around the corner. Help us get there. Hit that big red button and subscribe. We'll continue to bring you the latest news and rumors. And, hey, on Thursday, we will have the official coverage. We'll have a video of whether or not Allen Robinson signs. Doesn't look like he's going to, but if he does or he doesn't, we will have a video on it here on this channel. Let's keep it rolling here. Is it going to be a heavy workload for David Montgomery in the 2021 season? I'm going to give it 4 smoking J's on this one. I'm pretty fired up about Monty this year. Is David Montgomery set to get 20-plus carries per game? According to Matt Nagy, that appears to be the case. We'll discuss here on Chicago Bears Now. He joined NBC Sports Under Center podcast to talk about the upcoming season, talked about a variety of topics, but I found his discussion points on David Montgomery and the running game very interesting, so I wanted to bring it to you guys. He said 20 rushes a game for him. That's our goal, which you factor that in over a 17-game season. That's 340 carries, so I don't think it'll end up being that many, but I get the point he's making. Like, hey, this is a good football player. Our strengths are running the football. Let's feed the beast. Here's what he had to say. Quote, "We want to have the lead so that we can give him the ball so he has touches," because you know, just from seeing him run the ball, that guy in 4-minute mode takes more than one guy to bring him down. He's one of my favorite players on the team. And the point he's making there, and I agree with him, is David Montgomery can be a perfect closer when you have a lead late in a ball game. Why? Because he's damn hard to tackle, number one. He led college football his past 2 seasons at Iowa State in broken tackles, and that has translated to the NFL. He's not a true burner guy, although he's been working on his speed this offseason, but he's hard to tackle, especially late in games. Defenses are tired. He can be a guy that you give 7, 8, 9 carries in the fourth quarter to close out a football game. Now, last year he had a really solid season. I think one of the most slept-on running backs in the NFL. Almost 1,100 yards, almost 4.5 yards per carry, 8 rushing touchdowns. He added over 400 receiving yards as well. And all of that behind one of the worst offensive lines, at least for most of the season this past year. I think he's just going to continue to get better and better, and I would give this guy a lot of touches for a couple reasons. One, he's a running back, so you don't have to re-sign him. And two, he's one of your best players on offense. So I think that he's going to have a big season. I'm excited to see what he can do this year, and I love Matt Nagy saying, hey, we're going to give our good players the football because that's what an offense should be. It should not be just scheme-driven. It should be, hey, we have a good receiver in Allen Robinson and a good running back in David Montgomery. Let's feature those guys. Pretty simple if you ask me. Predict David Montgomery's stats for the 2021 season. Let's hear it from you guys down below. Over 1,500 all-purpose last year. How about 1,150 rushing and 480 receiving? Something like that. I think he'll have a little more yardage this year. Obviously, you got the extra game. So let me know. Predict his stats down in the comments. Now, you look at the depth chart overall, the Bears are in a good spot. I like this running back room. I think Monty's really good. I've outlined that pretty clear. I like the addition of Damian Williams. He was kind of the unsung hero of the Chiefs in their Super Bowl victory a couple of years ago. You could argue that he should have won Super Bowl MVP over Patrick Mahomes. Tariq Cohen's coming back. He's going to be more of that scat receiving type of back. I like the draft pick of Khalil Herbert, who I think will have instant special teams value. This running back unit is loaded. Like, there's not a lot of big names on there, but people who follow the Bears and follow the NFL closely will tell you that David Montgomery is a really solid back. Damian Williams was really solid for the Chiefs. People don't remember that. Tariq Cohen obviously can be explosive, and Khalil Herbert, I think, in the 6th round was one of the biggest steals in the NFL draft. So I like how the Bears shake up at running back. I like David Montgomery leading this room. Just such a bruiser at 5'10", 222 pounds, and still only 24 years old. Excited to see what he brings to the table for the Chicago Bears offense in 2021. Also excited for rookie quarterback Justin Fields. I already got his jersey, got the orange one, but hey, you want the navy one, you want the white, you want the orange, whatever. We got you guys covered. Chatsports.com/Fields1. You click that link, which will be in the comments and in the description. It'll redirect you to our partner Fanatics, and you can buy a Justin Fields jersey today. Guys, the season's going to be here before you know it, so don't miss the hype train. Get a Justin Fields jersey right now at chatsports.com/Fields1. Speaking of quarterbacks, is this the best quarterback group in Chicago Bears history? I'm going to go 3 Smoking Jays, which is pretty sad because it's not like this is a elite quarterback room by any means. It more goes to show how piss poor the Bears franchise has been at getting quarterbacks. But you think about it, okay, you've got Andy Dalton, who has spent 9 years as a starter in the NFL. Nick Foles has a Super Bowl. And if Justin Fields is at least solid, can be a starting level, well, you do have 3 guys who have started in the NFL. And if you look at the Bears' history at quarterback, it's embarrassing. It's a joke. I mean, the best quarterback in franchise history is Sid Luckman in the 40s. I mean, guys, this franchise has not been able to figure quarterback out. So it's not crazy to say that this could be the best quarterback room in the history of the franchise. A couple that came to mind, 2013, Jay Cutler, Josh McCown, Jordan Palmer. That's one of the best ones ever. That was the year that Cutler got hurt and McCown played a few games and played very, very well, and Palmer lasted in the NFL for several years as a backup. I saw someone point out in 1985, Jim McMahon was solid. He wasn't anything special, though. Steve Fuller, Mike Tomczak as well. I mean, you guys throw some years at me where the Bears had great quarterback rooms. I don't know where they are. Let me know in the comments, but this franchise has been starving for good quarterback play. This is why the Fields hype train is off the tracks. It's why it's real, because this fan base, this team, this organization is so desperate for a good quarterback that we're throwing out articles on the internet that an Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, rookie Justin Fields quarterback depth chart is the best in history of the franchise. Like, hopefully Fields hits. If he does, this will be the best quarterback room in franchise history, because that means they will have had a franchise quarterback in Justin Fields, which you could argue they basically never have had, especially in the modern era. So let me know what you guys think on this one. Will Justin Fields be the best Bears quarterback of all time? We're just jumping ahead before he even plays it down. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let me know what you guys think on this one.